Well, hello, friends. Welcome to the Wisdom Journey. My name is Elizabeth. Today we are covering chapter 16. So we're somewhat in our midday, we're midway of our journey. And like I mentioned before, all of these verses are so good. I really want to pause and just do a deep dive on everything, but we're going to focus on a couple of them. And starting here at the beginning, King Solomon's talking about our plans, and how we can set out some plans, but God has other plans. So let's read chapter 16, verse 1. We can make our own plans, but the Lord gives the right answer. Verse 2, people may be pure in their own eyes, but the Lord examines their motives. Commit your actions to the Lord, and your plans will succeed. The Lord has made everything for his own purpose, even the wicked for the day of disaster. What other verse I have here? Verse 7. So let's jump to verse 7. When people's lives please the Lord, their enemies are at peace with them. Verse 9, we can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. And then let's jump to verse 25. It says, there is a path before each person that seems right, but it ends in death. So here we're seeing about our plans, our motives. So we have to here be extremely transparent with God. He knows, like he examines our motives. Why are we really doing what we're doing? And if he doesn't see good motives, and if we are his children, and he doesn't see good motives, he may not open up those opportunities. So let's be transparent with him. And if there's motives that we may not be right about, might not have the right heart posture for it, let's just tell them, be honest. Hey, let's say I want to have a lot of money because you know what, God, I grew up poor and I never want to feel that again. So I want to have a lot. I want to have cars and I want to have this. As long as we're honest with him, like, don't worry, he will heal those, like that scarcity mentality. He's going to heal you and give you what you need, but we have to be transparent and honest. He already knows what our motives. I included here that verse 7 that I thought it was so interesting. When people's lives, when our motives, what we're doing, when they please the Lord, even their enemies are at peace with them. I think that's a great blessing. And the reason is because when we have God's glasses on us, when we're seeing the view through his eyes, we don't want to hurt our neighbors. We don't want to hurt our enemies. And if somehow we have to work with them, we're really going to think of win-win situation. Now, I know there's times. So yeah, there's times when, hey, you don't work with your enemies, right? But here's what I'm saying, that when people's lives please the Lord, even your enemies will be at peace with you. So that is a great blessing. We here it goes on to talk about, again, being honest in business or everything in our lives. Verse 11, accurate scales and balances. The Lord demands us to be honest in everything that we do. I continue on to talking about arrogance. So a couple of verses here that talk about arrogance. Verse 5, the Lord detests the proud. They will surely be punished. We go to verse 18. Pride goes before destruction and haughtiness before a fall. Do you see here the parallel of this verse 18 and then when we covered that on verse 15, where it said, humility precedes honor? So that's why I was talking that King Solomon does all of these little interesting switches on us. And now he says, humility precedes honor. And then here it says, pride goes before destruction. So God resists the pride. It's like he can't do anything with someone that is proud. Like he resists them, but it's you can't get near a proud person. They're a know-it-all. They got it all together. So how can you help? How can you help? Have you tried to help a prideful person? And it's just so difficult that you actually say, like, all right, whatever, just try to help you. Same thing with God. He can't reach us if we are hiding and behind this pridefulness, and he will resist us. Can't do anything until we humble ourselves. And a lot of what we say is a heart condition, and arrogance comes out. So I have here, let's see, verse 13. How can we how can we please the king with our lips if we have arrogance? We can't. Verse 13, the king is pleased with words from righteous lips. He loves those who speak honestly. Let's go to verse 21. The wise are known for their understanding, and pleasant words are persuasive. Yesterday, we also mentioned how wisdom is also attractive, right? So it's persuasive and it's attractive because it's logical and because it's life bearing. So when people hear this and they want to change in their lives, they're going to be attracted to what you're saying. Let's see, verse 24. Let's listen to verse 24. Kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body. So are your words like honey? Most of the time, I know like life happens, and there's times that we have to be tough. In fact, I'll just share just a couple of days. I had to tell just a good friend and client a couple of tough words, but it was, like they call the sandwich method. It is, constructive criticism. How was the sandwich? Like you say, you give a compliment, constructive criticism, another compliment. So it was very well thought out, a lot of prayer. But I had to say some tough words. So sometimes, we really can't say honey. We really can't say words that are full of honey sometimes. But for the majority of times, let's look at our speech, what comes out, because it is sweet to the soul and healthy for the body. 7, see what we have for 20. Scandals create trouble, their words are destructive blaze, and sometimes we just have to stay away from those people. 28, a troublemaker plants seed of strife, gossip, our words separates the best of friends. So one, if we're around those people, let's try to have a little bit space from them, and also let's not be those people. We have to really be cognizant of our gossip. Sometimes we feel like, oh, if we're gonna pray for that person, let's gossip a little bit about them. There's somebody very close to me that liked to talk about somebody negatively, and I said, hey, every time you talk about that person in a negative manner, I'm gonna have you pray for them that many times. And I took note and I said, all right, well, now you're going to have to pray for them 5 times, right? It's like, because, when you're gossiping, you are cursing those individuals. You are not only those individuals, those are ugly words that come out of you and slants on you too. So let's be cognizant that, yes, there's sometimes that things happen and you have to share about it. You have to talk about, like, hey, this happened, that happened, but you deep down know when it goes over to gossiping, the gossiping nature. Have here, I thought this was kind of interesting. Gray hair is a crown of glory. It is gained by living a godly life. So sometimes I know that we get to an age where we're like, we're getting grays. No, right? So what is a different perspective we can take on gray hair? Hey, it is, what do they call it? Like wisdom streaks, right? So I thought that was funny. And then better to be patient than powerful, better to have self-control than to conquer a city. So you can't conquer anyone else until you conquer yourself. And we have there's a couple of those patterns here, right? Of better to, let's see, where is it? And better to have little with godliness than to be rich and dishonest. How much better to get wisdom than gold and good judgment than silver? Better to live humbly with the poor than to share plunder with the proud. I'm glad I touched base on these. I forgot about this. I want to talk about something here. And so this is more of an opinion, and you guys, feel free to share with me. So this is an opinion. Let's read what it says. Better to have little with godliness than to be rich and dishonest. So there's nothing wrong with being rich, but there is something wrong with being dishonest. There's nothing wrong with, being rich, but if you are sharing in plunder and with the proud, that is a sin. So sometimes we kind of get confused here, especially like if we read these when we were younger, and we pretty much said, oh, it's not good to be rich. I have to be poor. I have to have a simple life. I have to, so it's like yes and no. Um, God has given us skills. We can create a lot of resources. Those resources, remember, what are the motives? They're to build our homes so we can live good, healthy lives. So we can provide for our family and friends and then our community. So there's not, so I just wanted to make sure that we don't get confused here or feel like, oh, it's better for me to live poor. It says here it's better to live poor. It's better to live poor than to be a thief, to be proudful. It's better to live poor than be rich and dishonest. So those are the things that I feel that sometimes if we learn a couple of these concepts when we're young, we associate being rich as a bad thing, and we associate being poor as a good thing. So there are poor people that are dishonest. There are poor people that are honest. There are rich people that are honest. There are rich people that are dishonest, right? And for us Christians, it's just a matter of our journey with God. He gives us a little, he sees how we're good stewards, and then he gives us more. And like I mentioned, it's okay to be vulnerable and transparent with the finances. Say, hey God, I don't want to be poor because of this, or I want to be rich because of that. And he will work through you through those situations and get you to a place where your heart is in the right place, where your motive, where he examines your motive and he says, all right, now we're good to go. Now let me bless you because I know I can trust you. All right. So thank you so much for going through chapter 16 with me, and we'll continue, and I'll see you on the next one.